So today's topic, we will talk about 3D printer. So for those who doesn't know, 3D printer, it's pretty much as you can imagine. It's like a printer and it prints out ink. But this printer, as you can imagine, is a 3D printer, but it's actually happening. It can print out whatever your imagination or whatever decoration that you wanted to make. So how does this 3D printer works? Basically, you need the raw material, like all the stuff that right here is right in front of me. You need raw material, as always. You need raw material to build a camcorder or a light, and then you module it to mold it in to form whatever the shape to fit the product. But this little printer doesn't need any labor work or anything at all. The only thing it requires is pretty much a guy just operate on the computer who has an idea or thought of how does this material is going to work, or how much limit and how it works. So basically, this little 3D printer, it has a head and it's split out like laser, just like a normal a printer would normally do, but instead they'll print out raw material and they'll zigzag their way out to build whatever their imagination. So why am I telling you this? Why? Okay, so 3D printer is going to be a huge hit. Well, even right now it is a huge threat in the country, and a lot of countries out there are on board of heavily used 3D printer, and the use of the 3D printer is convenient, and there's shitloads of cost saving. Yes, saving the cost, and it eliminates carbon emission because it doesn't come out any carbon dioxide. But and as well, more and more industry are participating with this whole thing. Now, why is this going to affect your future? Well, literally, it's going to affect everything. So this little printer can print out a house, a car, any electronic, as you can imagine what's today ever, everything. And it's going to destroy a lot of, murder industry, food industry, and also it just keep going on. And I can't tell you the big image because I want you guys, before you continue watching this video, I want you guys to go out or type in Google, right? Type it in and type in 3D printer. What does this thing actually does? And if you actually do, or you wanted to continue to watch more, right now, let's go through it now. Now, let's talk about the history of how work labor, or there's so much jobs back then, and it always require workers to work people, which is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's see the history in the past. So we see changes in the past. So it begins with manufacturing companies hiring tremendous amount of workers, even in the food industry, making biscuits, or car industries as well, making parts, or installing parts on the car as well, brand new cars or anything. You guys have the slight idea. But as we have countries, I can't speak of all countries because I know my country is Australia. So we then allow like competitions, like international brands to establish in this country, which also it creates a huge competition between your homegrown companies versus the international brands. So therefore you can often hear like stories like companies are offshoring to different parts of the world. And now obviously everyone knows about this. China is one of the world's largest mass production of imports, and for a cheap price as well, because of their renminbi. That's their currency is pretty low, but in the same time they give out good quality stuff. So I'm pretty sure whatever I'm wearing, whatever I'm doing right now, look, whatever what's here, that's all made in China, all right? So don't tell me that made in America is great or this and that. I'm pretty sure in the world, probably like 80% of the stuff is made in China. Okay, so we don't have the argument right now. So as competition rises, value, obviously the price will drop to compete with the international companies. So how would homegrown companies who can compete with the international? It's pretty simple, by introducing machines and robots to do the job. As we often hear more and more stories, which I'll get to back then, a lot of jobs, huge companies are sacking workers because they're replacing these machines and robots, which they are more efficient and more reliable. So there you go. What actually causes? It causes a job loss. Unemployment rate is going up. Okay, fair enough. So pretty common sense, right? So as I mentioned before, international brands is coming. Australia companies are suffering, either offshoring or can't make it, or basically introduce machines and robots. Now we're leaving 2015, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what's going on. There's another huge competition. So internationally, it's not the only one. We also have the internet. Now, internet are introducing large online business for a very cheap price, and they don't have much tax or high tax because they have their own country regulations. They have their own taxes, where Australia taxes is very, very high. So therefore, there you go, another booming business creates another competition. Now you often hear on the news that many industry is soaring and struggle to survive. And that is currently what's happening right now. So you got international companies are competing, and also you have online. But at the same time, a lot of labor workers are gone. So therefore that, like workers are gone, unemployment rate. Okay, fair enough. Now, as competition rises, and how I mentioned Australia companies struggle to compete, resulting, as you often hear on the media, like there's a lot of sacking workers or redundancy just to meet their profit margin. And it's crazy because when I was young, like even in the 90s or early 2000, I never heard of this word until recently. Redundancy is like a big word. It's like a new word. But until recently, I just figured out what it was. Now, I may be wrong, but I know the fact that a lot of companies, big banking or huge company, will say they'll sack that amount of workers. Half of the time, they rehire new workers for a cheaper labor, cheaper labor, pretty much just cheaper salary income. And there you go, that create a huge pressure on cheaper labor because, they reduce the income, and the cost of living in Australia is very high. And it's barely struggle to survive with that. So even if you do got a car or a family, it's hard that you have leftover with income. So anywho, I would like to go even further than that, but so simply introducing machines and robots to do the jobs, offshoring worker. Now I can go in forever with depth information about machines, robots, job loss, or yada yada yada. But today, what I'm about to tell you is why would I want to add this 3D printer is a threat. Now, according to online statistics, is showing that by 2025, that this 3D printer is gonna overtake this whole world. So right now we're 2015, we're seeing what online has done to industry, and this 3D printing is a threat. Now, I don't watch much convention videos, but what I do know is the 2014 CES CNET. For those who doesn't know, this is the convention that showcase most of the latest product that is about to release in 2015. So big companies, Sony, Tesla, BMW, Mercedes, Samsung, why did I try to say Sony? LG, you get it on top of your head. This is the convention that shows off, broadcast the latest gadget, product, and yada yada yada. Now, as I go through, the videos, I realized as 3D printing is like a quarter of the market, and it's been booming, and it's been showing how this 3D printing is so amazing to create stuff that even a human being can't even make, or even machines can't even make nowadays. But this 3D printing can literally make it. Now, so this CES is showing a lot of those stuff. In the different parts of the world, I know I've been watching online article about China and Dubai, or maybe more than other countries, but only those two countries are doing it, is building high-rise buildings, so apartments, units, double-story houses, or whatever the house is. Literally, this 3D printer can even print out houses. And also, there's another threat of it's easy to build military equipment, and there you go, guns, there you go. Now, I know in America, they allow to the point that they can make guns. I know it's illegal, but it's only plastic gun. But I do believe that right now, 3D printer is really slow. It takes probably days just to print out a certain item or certain building, depending what's inside. But what I can say is, I know when I was a kid that computer, which is 2000 and Windows Me, it was so slow. It was just running megabytes, like very, very little. And look at now, we have Windows 9, or, like more and more technology. Like even a smartphone, it's so smart. It will get to that technology stage. 3D printer is a technology, and it will improve year by year. And it will get to the stage is that it will be mass produced within seconds or minutes. Now, this is the reason why it's a huge threat in 2015 or even before that. And most of the job will be wiped out because this machine literally just built everything. They probably just build up like robot girls and robot guys and just do the work and everything. And that is the future, and that is scary. That is the unemployment rate right now in Australia is 6.2%, which is a record high. Can you imagine that introduced? That will create a lot of job loss around the world. But not to mention, it also creates problem as well. The economy, export and import, it just crumble unless those raw materials that needed to be part of it. But yeah, I hope you guys do acknowledge this 3D printer and what it actually creates. The other day I was reading the news article in news.com.au that criminals can actually 3D printer a card to clone your card, and they just pretty much just scam the money off your card. And that's how crazy this little thing can do. Like, it may look like innocent and small, it's just a machine, but it can create everything on top of your mind. And if it can create everything, it just makes everything a lot easier by year. And this is the video that I want to show you guys. Like, we all have futures, we all have goals, we make commitment. But things like that, like online industry, yes, it's manageable to compete, but 3D printer, it's very hard to compete. There's no way to compete with. And I'm pretty sure it'll get to that stage. A house, a car, even a phone. Like, I felt like today's society, a smartphone is so smart. Like, that's one of the best invention in today's society. But man, this 3D printers even amazed me even more. There you go. I've talked about 3D printer, and I hope you guys do further investigation and tell me what's your thoughts.